Pity that my life is ending when I just started to understand my mastery. And actually, no great teachers will ever say that he knows everything about his subject. Every great teacher knows that there is no status quo, and if you will, without hard work, practicing, every knowledge and every skill will fade. And if you hear the phrase, "I know everything" from someone, just be sure that you see ignorant and superficial person. And as a conclusion here, because my time is over, I want to say that me, Sergey, and everyone in this room, we all are students, and we all need teachers. And you might be sure that you will be alike the person you will learn from. And I suppose that you don't want to be a 200-kilo guy that is telling stories about how to run a marathon. Or you don't want to be a businessman whose business ever built was teaching others how to build a business. Or you don't want to be a shrink that is giving family advices while he or she is beating his spouse. So a great teacher can give you wings and lift you to the highest heights, or it can be a burden on your legs and send you to the darkest deeps. Sorry. The only person responsible for the direction of your movement is you. So choose wisely. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan, for your deep thoughts. You are a brave guy. And do you know what Ivan thinks of Moscow? Very surprising. So why does he like Moscow? It's because Moscow doesn't believe in tears. Yeah. And why he doesn't? Because Moscow doesn't believe in tears. Compelling, right? Okay, let's welcome the second speaker. It will be Diana Al-Zubi with your speech In Search of Adrenaline. He's doing her project on pathways as well. Your path is presentation mastery. He's again on the second level. That's great. And your project is devoted to effective body language. So, In Search of Adrenaline, Diana Al-Zubi, welcome.
Thank you. Never mind. Everyone in this room is driven by something. It could be money. It could be love. It could be sex. Likes the guys more than girls. Now I asked myself this question, what am I driven by? It took me some time to answer it, but here I found it. What I really like is new emotions, new feelings, like meeting new people, doing new things. So I concluded, I am driven by adrenaline. I was really happy to find that, because now I know how to make myself happy. I just need to add more adrenaline into my life. So here I would like to tell you 3 stories of how I was searching for this adrenaline. It all started when I decided to add some extreme sports into my life. I never done anything like that before, so I started with the easy stuff, bungee jumping. For those who don't know, this is when they tie your feet or your body with a rope and throw you from some height. In my case, they only allowed me to jump from the roughly 15th floor, but I thought, okay, well, for the first time, I guess that's also good. And here the moment comes. I am stood on a crane. Below me there is a beautiful lake, and I hear, "Jump!" Which I do. And at that moment, all my world turns upside down. I didn't realize that when they tie your feet, it means that your head is going to be falling down, not the other way around. And for a moment, I really liked that. I was like, whoa. However, very shortly, that feeling was gone. It was replaced by another one. Ow, when is it going to end? My gosh, when is it going to end? Why? I was not scared. But because your head is down and there is this big speed, and there is big pressure on your skull, on your eyes, my eyes started to really hurt. It felt like my eyeballs would pop out, like seriously. And that was not fun. When I finally got down, I looked at my boyfriend. We jumped together as a tandem. He was super happy. He was like, oh, wow, that was amazing. I looked at his hands, and they were shaking like this. I was like, honey, are you okay? He's like, yeah, it's adrenaline. It's adrenaline rush. Do you feel it? I'm like, no. He's like, well, you should. I'm like, okay. At that point, I explained it to myself that 15th floor was just not enough. That's just 50 meters. I need more. So I went for 4,000 meters. Jumping from a plane this time. And here the moment comes. Here I am, about to jump. I hear jump. I jump. For a moment, there's this beautiful feeling of flying. However, it lasted for less than a second. Soon after that, the feeling was replaced by pain. Let me explain why. Now, this happened in England. And as you know, England is famous by its weather. It's either foggy or rainy. On that day, it was both. So naturally, when you're on Earth and you have the rain coming on you, it comes from the sky down. Now, when you're in the sky and your speed is faster than the speed of the rain, what happens is that it hits your face like that. And all I was thinking about, oh my God, when is it going to end? When is it going to end? Soon, the moment, boom, ow! It was the parachute. It opened, which is good. But it was such pain because I don't know whether they tied it wrong or something, but it started hurting me here a lot because the parachute was going up and my legs were going down. And at that point, I thought, thank God I'm not a guy. I would not have survived. Again, this experience did not really end up with these adrenaline emotions. I didn't really experience that. It was more like when it's going to end. And then I decided, okay, maybe this is just not for me. At this point, I've wasted so much money on this, I should stop and just continue my normal life. Very soon, I was offered to present a project in my university. It was a team project, and somebody had to present a report. Everyone in my team went, no, not me, please, not me. I was like, oh, come on, we're allowed to read from a paper. I mean, it's fine. I'll do it. So I did. I come on the stage, and I see 200 pairs of eyes looking at me. And I don't know what to say. The words don't come out. Not because I forgot them. I just don't. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm allowed to read from a paper. So I got my paper, got it out, decided to read it, but I see my hand shaking like this. I see my other hand over here shaking like that. And then in this situation, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling it, the adrenaline rush. But then again, there is this teacher, there is this grade, so I found the closest not movable object, put it down here, stayed like this, reading my project, finished it, done it. Okay. Now, interestingly, once I left the stage, I was not thinking of how bad I was, because I was bad. I wasn't thinking about the grade, because I know it would be bad. I was thinking, I felt it. I felt the adrenaline rush. It's so amazing. And later, ladies and gentlemen, this is what led me to join Toastmasters, to experience this feeling again and again and again. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you still haven't found your passion, especially the new ones who are here for the first time, try the stage. Maybe you'll fall for it, exactly as I did. And you'd want to come here again and again and again. Thank you. Here's Toastmasters.
Thank you very much, Diana. Thank you so much for your speech.
Thank you. Right, sit down.
Yes, you can take your seat.
You're not going to be talking to them about Moscow?
Oh, you want to share your thoughts yourself?
Oh, you forgot them?
No. So please take your seat because yes, we have to make our program running. Yeah, thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
compelling speech. And yes. So are you curious about what Diana thinks? Yeah, I'm not going to let you speak because she's already spoken. I'm kidding. So why does she like the city? Is because it is beautiful, really, and she thinks that people don't realize, but the renovation of the city center puts it at some or even higher standard than many European capitals. But why Diana doesn't like Moscow is because although the city is very multinational, not all nations are treated the same, which I find really shame. I believe that we all equal and should be treated equally. That's the case more or less in New York or in London, but sadly it's not the case in Moscow. So here her thoughts, and let's proceed to the last but not the least speaker. It will be Alexandra Gulaeva with her project Mount Fuji. She's doing her project on CC Manual. It's the project program which was existed before Pathways. It's a traditional program and she's on its way. The project is devoted to body language again. So Mount Fuji, Alexandra Gulaeva, welcome.
My dear friends, let's imagine there are mountains all over this room. And tonight I'm going to talk about mountains a lot. What is the first mountain which is famous all over the world, which you can remember? Well, so far, the most recognizable by shape mountain in the world is not Everest, it's the Mount Fuji. And when we think about Mount Fuji, we start imagining Japan, these blossoming gardens, and Japanese people. But what is important? It was not always like this with Mount Fuji. And I'll explain you why. So first, Mount Fuji wasn't that well known by Japanese people long ago. Why? Because the Japanese capital, Kyoto, it was located quite far from Fuji. It was located next to another mountain. It was called Kumano Mountain. And those Kumano Mountains were recognized in all the pictures and in all the poems. But then, something changed in Japan. The Europeans came. And what did Europeans discover? They discovered a mountain which has a perfect conic form. Why European people liked it so much? Because the European tendency at the time was about perfect shapes and everything which seems calm, beautiful, and patient, like Mount Fuji. What happened to Japanese people after European people came and said, wow, this is Mount Fuji, we like it. Japanese people at that point, and it was the end of 18th century, they had some specific relations with their culture. They were thinking, all our culture is something strange. It is not like everywhere in the world. Maybe something is wrong with us. Well, those Europeans, they like something about us. This mountain should become a new symbol of Japan. And it became. There are two interesting things about this. First of them is that even the gender of this mountain changed in Japanese books. Traditionally, the mountain called Fuji was female. You know, in traditional natural philosophy, mountains and rivers which come from these mountains are usually female. But then, at the times of Japanese militarism, Mount Fuji started symbolizing the strength of Japan, and it became male. Another interesting thing is what happened later. A bit later, Mount Fuji became important not because of traditional things. Traditionally, people came there, mountain, wow. And they were coming to this mountain to look up, to talk to gods, to heal themselves and to get some insights from the higher materials. But then, the Europeans climbed at the top of this mountain and looked down. So strange that they looked down. What they discovered was a perfect view to the Tokyo city, which became a new capital of Japan. And this was the second change which happened in Japanese people's minds about this mountain. And well, the main thing which I want to tell you about mountains, the Fuji mountain, and Japanese culture in general is related to one important point. And this is it. People's mindset changes much quicker and much more smooth than the natural objects, like this mountain. And it takes centuries and centuries for the mountain to change its form, but it takes not that much time for people to change their thoughts about this mountain. And now I would like to ask you, do you have any questions about this thing? Well, then thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Alexandra. So maybe could you please hold a little bit on stage, because I didn't have the opportunity to ask you directly. So could you just briefly tell us why you like Moscow and why you don't? Just briefly.
I like Moscow because it's a city where you can go somewhere and find something at any point of your life when you need something. And there are no reasons for me not to like Moscow.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks a lot. So, dear friends, we are gradually coming to the break, but please, one more thing. Don't forget about donations. Yes, 100 rubles will be pretty much enough to help the club running, to enjoy snacks, water, and other pleasant stuff. Ribbons, I hope the club gives ribbons, and also presents. So please, don't be stingy. Give 100 rubles for your tea break. So, and now we are having a 10 minutes break. So, welcome and enjoy.